Good evening. Welcome to New York Talk. We are the Rotherham United podcast, and we have another win to talk about. This is the episodes we like doing. 2-0 away win to go 5 unbeaten. Only conceded 2 goals in that spell as well. Ending before the next international break with very good run of results, going into a very tough run of fixtures of what will follow the international break. We have 4 people with us. We have myself, Matt. We have Mick in the top right of the screen, if everybody can see. Hello, Mick. Unless you're listening to audio, you won't be able to see. But Mick, if you look at the top right of your screen, you won't see Mick. Ben's with us. Ben's couldn't have his tea, so apologies to any chewing noises. Scallop rice for it?
Yeah.
Scallops and rice, apologies. Obviously didn't make it himself. Why would he?
We're not training all day.
I mean, that was. I'm sure that's what everybody wanted to hear, was you chewing your food. No, nobody could understand what you said.
I didn't train all day.
Okay. Hard work, sat down all the time. And Danny's with us as well. Thank you for joining us, Danny.
Hello and good evening to everybody watching live on YouTube, and hello to everyone listening on audio as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're watching on YouTube or we're live on Facebook tonight, so if you want to send us a comment in, question, anything like that, then we will happily get you involved as and when we can. So like I said, we are 2-0 victories, 2-0 victory over Cheltenham Town. Mick, it's sort of like the Wimbledon game. Not an amazing performance, but we did in the first half. But we did absolutely everything we needed to do to get a result. And I suppose the pressure we put on them just told in the end.
Yeah, I mean, it was, yeah. Boys against men, I guess, really, weren't it? I suppose. We did a job on them. We did a job, like you said, the performance wasn't sparkling at all.
Was it dads and lads?
Yeah, basically dads and lads football. Yeah, thanks for your input on that one, Ben. You're right. Yeah, we just did a job on them. We were never really, pushed ourselves, did we? Let's be fair. It was a very comfortable performance, comfortable win without anybody particularly excelling, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair assessment. Yeah, a good day, Danny. Very, very good day. Any away day is a good day when you win, but to hit the other goals we did were pretty good goals as well. First was comedy, but a good striker's goal.
Yeah, definitely a poacher's goal from Greg, but that's what we've signed him for. I think we've been lacking a player of his of his caliber for quite a long time. Like I've seen a lot of people say on Twitter that it's the guy we've been missing since Lefondre left. Now, of course, I wasn't at the football games at that time because I couldn't afford to go. But I'll take everyone's word for it. It's probably the best thing since Lefondre sliced bread. So yeah, I think Will Grigg has opened the tap now, and hopefully the tap becomes a torrent and he gets a fair number of goals now, because he looks like he could get at least 15 this season if he carries on the way he is.
Yeah, let's start with him then, Ben. Will Grigg, like I said, 2-2 now, and we see even the best strikers in the world that once they get a goal, they can go on and get bigger and better things. And we talked about Kane in the Euros a lot. Once he got his first goal, he was a different player, and that's hopefully going to be the case with Grigg. That he's got his now 2 goals in 2 games. You can see going from strength to strength. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I hope he's not going to be a different player, because he's been one of the best players I've seen play. But I hope he's not going to be a different player. I think that's just an excuse that people use, because when players are so good, like they'll get 1 goal, but for them to not get a goal in 3 games is kind of...
The scallops have acted back.
What's the word I'm looking for? When, say, Kane don't get a goal in 3 games, that's very unusual, but it's usual for him to score 20 a season. So he'll go 3 games without it. He'll get 1, and then he'll score 20, and people say, oh, well, he'll got 1, so then he got the confidence. No, he's just that good of a player that he's usually scored 20 goals. He's had a very weird start, if that makes sense. So I think he's going to stay the same. I think he's going to stay consistent. I think he's going to score goals. He's a very good player.
I'm not convinced it's a lot to do with the fact that he's not scored. I think it's to do with the fact that he hasn't played. Yeah, he's not played for virtually a year. And coming into professional football at any level, if you've not played, it takes you a while to get up to speed and get into a decent game. So
Sport at any level, yes, Ben, you're right.
Yeah.
David Bateman's with us. Hi, guys. Fantastic result yesterday. Yeah, absolutely fantastic result. Yeah. Smithy, mate, we're going to talk about plenty of different players. Smithy didn't have his best game yesterday, and he's allowed that. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say I can't believe he played that way. And he didn't play badly. It wasn't quite in the heights he'd hit in the past few games. But then at the same time, it was a great foil for Grigg. You know what I mean?
I've said this right from the start. Smith is useless. And we said it last podcast. He's absolute garbage. And to be fair, because he's sort of opened a few people's eyes this season outside the club, and hopefully they've all gone along to Cheltenham to watch him perform. And they'll see what a crap player he is. So, you don't need him. Just leave him with us. We'll deal with lad. We'll let him see his career out with us, and he can just sort of wind it up with us. Yeah, to be fair, you're right. He didn't have a particularly good game. He struggled to get into it. He struggled to win any headers.
They doubled up though, didn't they?
Yeah, certainly at first half.
That's what we said though. This is what happens. What happens when you double someone up?
Well, there's somebody else who's free then, aren't they?
Who scored? Grigg. It's not a coincidence. I don't think Smithy played bad and Grigg scores. I don't think it's a coincidence.
And moving forward, that's going to cause defences and teams a lot of problems because they're going to have to double up on both of them. And there's one or two others that might be able to bank ball it back at net.
You double up on both of them. Look how much space he got on wings. It happened yesterday.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You don't want Chio running that year or Miller when he doesn't decide to punch somebody.
No.
I think. I'm sure we'll move on to substitutions, but I think that were really harsh warning that.
What?
Yeah.
What?
We'll come on to it. We'll come on to it in a bit. I think that one of the things that's back on Smith, Danny, is that he's put his level such a high level that chance he had in the second half. I were almost disappointed he didn't score because I just assumed that the form he's in that was going to be back at net. It just didn't quite work for him.
No, and the one bit you can take from it is that he sent the defender for an early bath, didn't he?
Yeah.
That defender went sliding off down the pitch, which I thought were hilarious. But it's one of them things where he gets into that position and in the back of your mind, you sort of know that he has that ability, so he probably will score. But it sort of makes it twice disappointing that he didn't. He didn't have enough height on it, and their keeper saved it. But the way I looked at it, it was a little bit like Jeff Hurst in the World Cup final. He's gone down that end and he's gone, right, if I blaze it over, it don't matter because it wastes a bit of time. If I score, I score. And he scored and Michael Smith didn't. But it was that similar sort of thing of it didn't really matter if he didn't score because we were 2-0 up and with 3 minutes left, if that. Yeah. So it is disappointing that he didn't score again and increase his tally, but at the same time, it's not that big of an issue because the game was done and dusted anyway, really.
Yeah, it will. Let's talk about the first goal in a bit more detail, Ben. This is where Will Grigg has made his money. He moved to Sunderland for a lot of money, and this is one of the reasons why. He scored from literally on the line, but it was the only person in red for Cheltenham and grey for us. It was the only player that was anywhere near predicting the keeper might make a mistake. Not even predicting, just hoping that he did make a mistake. And he got his just rewards. He fully deserves that for taking that risk. It's not even a risk, is it? But for doing that, he got his just rewards.
If you look at indigestion, I'm sorry if I've. Sorry.
No, you.
Are them scallops still alive, Ben? Is that why you're having a
I have no idea. But if you look at every time we have a shot, look where Grigg is. He's always in the middle of the pitch on the penalty spot. Always after every single shot. And I think it's a coincidence that he scored from that because he's there every single time we have a shot when no one else isn't. So, yeah, he's the only person, probably Bardi would score that type of goal. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's not a very... It's a good goal. It's such a smart goal. It's a crap goal into the centre. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's a very smart goal. Like, you don't see... When was the last time someone scored a goal like that for us?
It's interesting. You watch the highlights of it, and there's on one of the highlights I've seen. There's a camera angle from behind the goal, and you could see Grigg move out with the line. Obviously, as the line moves up, he moves up with it. But he's constantly watching over his shoulder. He's looking over his shoulder, and as soon as that shot is struck, he's gone. He's turned. Everybody else is still moving out. He's already turned.
Look at where he ends on the veg goal as well.
Yeah, absolutely. He moves out with the line, keeps himself onside, and as soon as the shot struck, he's turned and gone and left everybody else for dead. There's nobody. If you look at him when he puts that ball back in there, there's nobody within 5 yards of him. It's ridiculous, but that's, as Ben says there, that is the intelligence of a striker of that caliber. And you mentioned Alfie earlier on. That's exactly what Alfie would have done.
I think it comes down to experience as well, because players of that playing style are all they all have a fair bit of experience to them. Like Ben says with Vardy, and then you've got Billy Sharp at Sheffield United, who's a similar caliber, and now with Will Grigg. They all have the experience and the knowledge to know keeper might spill that. Oh, I can tap it in on the goal line, easy as that. Yeah. And I really hope that, because Freddie's a sort of poacher as well, but he doesn't put in the work to do it. So I really, really hope Freddie looks at Grigg and goes, I need to be like him. I need to be more active. And Freddie might start bagging as much as those three have in the past as well. Because it's no mistake that you score. It don't matter where you score, it's still a goal. It don't matter if it's a yard off the line or 30 yards away. A goal's a goal, but you get more goals inside the penalty area, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but there's nothing to take away. We'll give a lot of credit. It was an absolutely stinking mistake from keeper Danny. And I feel a bit sorry. He's a Rotherham boy, born in Rotherham. I mean, if you pick plays, you don't want to do a mistake. I suppose from that point of view, you don't want to score a worldie like Reg did, but keeper's got to do better. He's got to look at himself in the mirror there.
Yeah, I mean, it is a bit of a clanger, but he had a really good first half for their keeper. Because Rathbun's effort was a clear goal unless he got his hand to it. Sadly, in the opening minute, nearly had a goal as well, but the keeper saved it. So I think the keeper had a good first half, but we all make mistakes, don't we? It's like, I'm not personally blaming him for it because he's a good keeper, and like I say, he's a Rotherham boy as well, so it's not right to bash a Rotherham boy. But at the same time, yeah, you can say he needs to do a little bit better. But end of the day, it's a goal for us. So
yeah,
unlucky, but thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Ben, you disappeared and came back. I think you've got pudding. What pudding have we got?
I think Nick knows what I've got. Rice pudding.
Rice pudding.
Rice pudding.
Cinnamon on it. Yeah,
rice pudding made by your mother.
He hasn't got any jam in it. What are you playing at?
I completely agree, Danny. I'm not gonna lie.
What?
You need jam in that.
Correct.
Teaspoon of jam in that.
You put jam in. You can't have strawberry drunk. I know you're allergic to it.
Yeah. What?
Yeah, no. Danny's 100% right. Spoonful for you, I assume, raspberry jam. Put it in, mix it in. That's beautiful. Off you go.
Mm-hmm. No, thank you.
You got to warm it up. The rice pudding's got to be warm. You can't just have cold rice pudding. It's got to be warm.
Oh, yeah.
What?
It's to be warm. Can't jam in it.
Straight out of the fridge.
There's these magic things called microwaves.
Oh yeah, I know. That's how I warm it up. But this is not. This is cold. Two choice. You need to get your normalities in.
Until you've tried it, Ben. Don't come at us.
I have. I've had warm rice pudding. Nothing on this.
It's not by chance Ambrosia rice pudding out at tin, is it?
Oh no, that crap. This is homemade.
Okay.
Anyway, welcome to the Rotherham United podcast.
Food review.
Yeah, the rice pudding edition.
Yeah, that's just interesting. I feel like I needed to ask Ben a question. I had no.
I'm gonna have some dark chocolate as well after, if anyone cares.
No, we don't, mate.
Well,
anyway,
I'm
interested. I don't like dark chocolate. Dark chocolate's horrendous. Anyway, moving on.
You're horrendous.
Let's talk about Cheltenham, how they set up in the first half, Mick. The way they set up suited us down to the ground. It completely suited us down to the ground because all that needs to happen, you get Barlaser on ball and he can just turn left, turn right, pop it out wide, and off we go. It didn't seem a very... And to be fair, Cheltenham first half did play quite well. Did all right. But they just played into our hands, it's it for me.
Yeah, I don't know whether they've looked at us and thought that the central midfield three need to be gaffered, and if they can gaffer them, everything will be fine. But I mean, the amount of space that's certainly sadly are in that first half had on that right hand side is just, I mean, it was ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous.
Did not weird, like, but whatever.
Yeah, well, I mean that's
I think
that's
his choice. I think that
We'll
was his
come on
choice
to
to
that,
give
Ben.
Sadly that much space. If I'm being honest.
yeah.
You think they
I
chose to
blame
do
them.
that? But they wouldn't know
I
Sadler's playing, would they?
Hey, would you rather
Assume
eat for
Chio
Sadly or
would be.
Rathbone? I'd rather eat Sadly. Thank you very much. Let him try to take someone on one-on-one.
Which he singularly failed to do yesterday. He did get some balls into the box, but he didn't. He wasn't taking any players on. It's what you get when you're playing a player out of position. He's desperately trying to give Sadly a place in team, and none of the positions that he's played him in, certainly out wide, left or right, suit the way he plays football. But going back to the question that you put there, Matt, you're right. I mean, they gave us so much space out wide. It was criminal, really. And I imagine that Chio and Mikel Miller have been sat on the bench itching to get on.
That's why they give him so much space, in my opinion. I feel like if you're not playing the best player or one of the best players in Chio, and you've got Sadly out there, don't get Smith. Let's not let it in middle towards Smith and Grigg. Let Sadly go and beat us. Let what's the player's name? What's his name? Ferguson go and beat us. Ferguson put some good balls in.
Yeah, good game.
Nearly made them pay. And I think if we had Chio on right wing, it'd have been a cricket score. But I think there was a good tactic on their part, if I'm being honest. Not to criticise Sadly, I think it was a good tactic. Make the worst player beat, or make the weak link beat us. I'm not saying he's not the worst player. Even that was hard.
It was harsh.
Weak link. Make the weak link beat us.
Rasputin's farting back now.
I know.
Yeah. I really want Sadler to do well, Danny. And I don't know why. Well, it's because it was Rotherham United player, that's why. But I really want him to do well. And whenever he comes on the pitch, he's just something missing. Like, he didn't have that bravery yesterday to take on the man. I don't know if it's a confidence thing or what. He just never tried to beat the man, really, did he? He tried to put a cross, but that step forward and that skill to beat the man, it never came, and now had the space to do it.
I think it was more down to their left back being able to stand up to Sadlier more, because Sadlier isn't as quick as Chio. I mean, anyone who thinks Sadlier is quicker than Chio, you need to you count your seconds wrong. Exactly. So yeah, Sadlier's not a quicker wing. Well, he's not quicker when he plays on the wing. But I think their left back stood up to him really well. I mean, there was the odd occasion where I tried to take him on, but because he's not just that bit faster, it's not a knock or anything towards him, but it's just because he's not that bit faster, it sort of played into their left back a little bit more. But whenever Sadly got the ball and he was already beyond the left back, he played in some good balls into the box. And I think he is more of a natural crosser than Chio is. Like, Chio could cross a ball, but Sadly, when he beats the man, does cross the ball just a tad bit better. And that might be just my opinion, but anyway. But yeah, Chio, Sadly playing out wide doesn't really suit him, and that might be a confidence thing why he didn't do his best on Saturday. But whenever he came in field a little bit as well, he looked a little bit more natural, and that might be because he feels he's more natural as a cam or just a little bit more further inside. But I don't think it was a major issue with Sadly. I just think their left back stood up to him well, but Sadly did the job of tiring him out. And then when Chio came on, blitzed him. And then he just kept fouling him. And I saw the referee counting the number of fouls their left back did on Chio. And he got to 4. And it's like, how many fouls do you need for it to be a card, ref? Is it like 5 strikes now? What's he doing?
Yes, I enjoyed that. Danny's brought him up, Mick. So let's have a quick mention at referee. Darren Drysdale. And same as the referee on last Saturday. I think it's fair to give him the due. He had a solid game. He didn't do it wrong. Like Danny mentioned, there were plenty of fouls that could have been given at bookings. A couple of bookings. For the most part, let's give praise where praise is due. I thought the referee had a decent game.
Yeah, he did absolutely. I know there were no obvious howlers that I can recall throughout the game, and like you say, it's right that we do praise them when they have a good game, because there are plenty of times when they don't. I thought he played well. I thought he had a good game again. So that's not 2 on the trot, but certainly 2 Saturdays on the trot where we've had decent referees. I don't think we ever had that all last season in the Championship, did we?
Probably not. No.
So he's a decent referee, Drysdale, and as he's shown, you wouldn't argue with him, would you? You wouldn't tell him he's not.
No, Alan Judge found that. Bless him.
Yeah. Justifiable. So no.
20 minutes in, and we haven't mentioned Reg. So let's get on with it. I want to talk about the build-up in a minute, but let's talk about the hit itself. Sweet as a nut, Danny. I mean, I don't know what I was going to say really, but he couldn't have planned that better in his head, really, could he?
No, I mean, he said in his interview that he's just smacked it, and if that's his way of just smacking it, then fair play to him. I don't think what the play shot would be like for him. But yeah, I thought he was solid in defence again, and the goal just really topped it off. It was a cherry on this cake, really. It was a really sweet strike. He's hit it with a lot of power. And but it was the knowledge of Smith just to go, oh, he's there, just passes it out wide. And then it's down to Reg to either go outside and get a ball in or just smack it. And he just smacked it and he scored, so fair play to him.
We said when it happened yesterday, Ben, that we talked about Akeem Dolphin looking a bit like Semi in his style. The way he hit that ball, it reminded me of that first goal he scored against QPR. And when the second goal was last-minute header, that goal then was almost a carbon copy of the goal that Semi scored against QPR.
Yeah, he's not the player that Semi is, though.
No, I'm not saying, but that goal itself just had Semi all over it.
I don't know if I've got to get second pudding, so I don't know if you've mentioned the pass from Grigg. Beautiful pass from Grigg.
Not yet, no. I'll just talk about the hit first.
Oh, it was a beautiful hit for a centre-back. I mean, Jesus Christ. He shot, I thought, for God's sake. And then he went in bottom corner. Right finish. As he about to hit it, I thought, for God's sake. And then when he hit it, I was like, wow, it's got some power on this. I'm not going to lie, I thought it was Woody at first. I was like, oh my God, Woody's right foot.
Yeah, it was just goals like that, Mick. They don't happen once every so often. And you just got to enjoy them. For what they are. He'll not hit the ball sweet as that in his life. Again, in training probably. You just got to sit back and enjoy it for him as well. It's just what a day.
Absolutely, 100%. And it's what his performances of the last few games have deserved as well. You know, I mean, he's been fantastic. He's come in and he's replaced Wes Harding or Michael Ehekwe, whichever one you want to talk about there. Two players who've been immense for us for the last 2 seasons, and they can't get back in because of him. You know, and he's a young kid. Where is he? 22, 23. You know,
he's on loan though, isn't he?
He is on loan, yeah. But that's a position where experience is everything, or it's certainly 95% of what you do. Experience, you really, really need to know your onions there, and he's taken to it like a duck to water, hasn't he? And he's keeping some quality players out of the team. So, you know, and that just sort of puts cherry on top of it, doesn't it? Lovely strike.
It was. Let's talk about the build-up, because the build-up was almost as good as the strike. The flick around the corner from Ben Wiles to start with. I mean, that man, Danny, that guy is genuinely going from strength to strength each game. Every game this season, he seems to be getting better and better. And that flick right corner was just something else.
You were crap at the start of the season.
Not everybody, mate.
95% of people were.
No, I don't think so. They're just.
I see it all the time on Facebook. I don't know what planet you're on.
Just Rotherham fans having a good moan. They always find something to moan about.
Yeah, seeing people say we're crap a bit. Calling for player of the month. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, the flick round the corner from Wales. I mean, like you say, just going from strength to strength, and it's not just a thing of having the ability to do it; it's having the confidence to do it as well. If you've got the confidence just to go, I'm going to flick this around the corner and it's going to work, then it just goes to show how mature of a footballer he is when he's only 3 months older than me and I'm only 22. You know, just to have that natural confidence just to go, oh, just flick it around the corner and we can get on with it. You know, that's something you only see at Championship and some Premier League clubs. Someone that young just to go, oh, I'll flick it, it'll work. So, yeah, fair play to him going from strength to strength. He's a very mature footballer. And I hope he really does crack on, whether it's with us or at some point he moves onto a higher club and represents Rotherham as high as he can possibly go. Yeah,
absolutely. Ben, you mentioned Will Griggs' setup for the second goal. I'll let you have your moment.
Oh, beautiful. You know what's funny, Matt? I've been thinking about this. every time he passes it out when he's in the box, it makes the defender think he's going to pass it out here, which gives him that little bit of space to shoot. And when he does want to shoot, you know what I mean? Just little things like that just make him such a good player. And it's a good pass. It was an alright pass. But for me, the way he does it, the pass it, when he turned around there, you had no idea what they were going to do. Whether they were going to take it right shoulder to his left foot or volley it to Smith or whatever, you know what I mean? And it just makes that defender hesitate the tiniest bit, and at that level, that's all you need. With quality, when you're as good as Grigg anyway, that's all you need.
Yeah. Jonathan Ripper's with us on YouTube. This is what a game it was. Incredible from start to finish. We had another message, email from Steve. So thank you very much. Everyone wants to get in touch with us on email, rufcpod.
What's that like?
Yeah. Steve's getting involved, and we appreciate it. We like it when people get involved. That's what we're here for. He's kind of talking about the shot accuracy, but interestingly matching it up from first half to second half. First half, he's mentioned 66% shot accuracy, 54% in the second half. So it go down, Mick. But that's not really a drop, really. You know, in shot accuracy terms, it's not really a drop in that sort of time. And it sort of as Steve mentions, it points towards us, our fitness going forward. Because in the second half, Cheltenham will look dead on the feet. And that's down to our intensity.
Yeah, what's accuracy count as on target?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a number of issues, isn't there, that play, and you know we talked about it previously. We talked about expected goals and various other things, and none of these things you can take in isolation. You've got to take them in the context of individual games, in the context of collections of games, in the context of the season. You know what I mean? And if that shot accuracy is increasing, that who knows what the reason is? It's not because we're taking less attempts on goal. So is it something to do with the training methods that we're using? Is it something to do with decision making in terms of when that attempt on goal is going to be taken? You know what I mean? Yeah. Is it to do with the fact that the team is starting to gel together? You can see week on week, game on game, they're more and more joined up, aren't they? You know, you look at this team from 3 or 4 weeks ago in comparison to the way that they played yesterday. And they probably may not have got that result yesterday because they weren't quite as developed as a team as they are now. So those figures are probably potentially going to continue to improve until they get to a certain level, and obviously then that they'll reach a ceiling. But I do love these figures. I love stats. I really do. But you can't take individual statistics and build your house on them, you know what I mean? You've got to take them in context and with other things as well. So it's good that that's happening. It's good that the accuracy is increasing because that means more goals.
Yeah, but the thing is with stats, right? I don't like stats because stats.
I'm not surprised.
Aren't you trying to play a sport American football, which is almost entirely based on stats?
Yeah.
Okay. Just checking.
Statistically, I'm not very good. Like, I'm just not. I'm probably one of the worst in my team, statistically. But the thing is with stats, you can make them look however you want. You want to show us as crap, you can make some stats to make us look crap. You want to show us as good, you can show us some stats to make us look good. You know what I mean? You can change the narrative to whatever you want with numbers. So I struggle with stats sometimes. But like Mick said, I mean, if you have loads of lots and lots of stats in context, all put into one narrative, it does kind of start to think, well, maybe this is true. So, yeah, we're a good team. I mean, numbers. You don't need numbers to say that we've got one of the best teams that I've ever seen play. Rather than, don't know about anyone else. I'm very young though. We said it a couple of years ago. Me and Mick, when we speak about this, Mick. Talking about like a couple of years ago, we were like, this has got the potential to be one of the best squads we've had. And right now, I think this is the best squad we've had in a very long time. We've got numerous players who you were like, yeah, he's championship quality. Yeah, he's high-end championship quality. Michael Smith. Who in the country does what Michael Smith does better? You know what I mean?
No, you're right. You're right. I mean, you look across the divisions. And is there anybody any better at that specific job?
Who has a touch like that at his size, except Akin Fenwar? Who has the ball control that he does at that height and that?
Kiefer Moore at times, but I think Kiefer Moore's first touch is inconsistent. Once Kiefer Moore gets under control, the chances are you're not getting ball off him. Whereas Smith's ball control is maybe not as good as that, but his first touch is better.
Ridiculous! It's ridiculous. His first touch, honestly, it's stupid.
It reminds me of first touch, Mick. I think this is going back and he wasn't as good a player. Chris O'Grady's first touch, at times was amazing. His all-round game left a lot to be desired. To be honest, he couldn't hit back and net score his life.
Well, unless you were playing against us, then he were really
playing against us. Yeah. But that's the only Rotherham striker I can think of who you could fire the ball in 90 miles an hour and he could take it down. Yeah. Smith is similar to that.
I think he's a much better player all round.
Much better. Yeah.
And he's going to be difficult to replace when he goes because, spoiler alert, he will go. He ain't going to see his season. He ain't going to see his career out with us. Particularly if he continues to improve. So enjoy it while you can, and let's see what we can build to replace him as and when he does go. But yeah, you're right, absolutely. He's going to be immense this season.
Yeah. Let's move on. Let's move further back from the strikers and talk about Dan Barlaser, Danny. I voted for him man of the match on the poll that they had on the web and through the official site, and I know why he didn't get in the team start of the season because he weren't at his peak and he weren't playing massively well. But it now looks really silly that somebody playing like this wasn't in the team because he is just spectacular what he does.
And maybe the spell out of the team made him kick on a little bit more as well because he's sort of turned into Prime League One Barlaser now, like we had in 2019-20. And yeah, I think the only reason he didn't get man of the match was because I think. Sorry if anyone's finding my mic a bit naff. I don't know what's up with it. I might try and unplug it in a minute. But yeah, he's turned into Premier League One Barlaser. I think he didn't win man of the match because Reg had a better game. It might be one of the rare occasions Barlaser has a better game than Rathbone. So yeah, fair play to him.
Yeah, no, I probably agree with that. I thought Rathbone Ben was. Let's not. Again, it's the Michael Smith conundrum. He didn't have a bad game, but it probably wasn't up to the standard that he's been recently. But Rathbone, it should have unlucky to score in the first half, and I'm maybe being a bit critical saying he didn't have a good game.
I ain't seen him do well. I've not been watching the past couple of games.
That's true. You've been away.
But apparently Maradona's recently signed for us. And the post I've been seeing on Facebook about it could be a Rotherham legend, and he's like, how many games he played? Less than 10. So
potential's there, mate.
Potential's there, but you don't get paid off potential. You get paid off.
No, you do.
Result. Well, you do now, which is a big. Yeah, that's why you're having big players flop. But yeah, he played all right. There's definitely a lot of potential there. I think he's going to get found out by the fouls. They're not how aggressive he is, if that makes sense. I think he's in the wrong era because football is a game now where, cricket's more of a physical sport. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Than football. It's more of more contact in cricket than there's allowed in football anymore. So I think he's in the wrong era. But you can see the talents and qualities there, and the work ethic and the what's it called, the determination is there. But yesterday we were average. We were all right. It wasn't bad. We were all right.
Danny's back with us. Danny's back with us. How's your sound, Danny?
Well, let's do a test, shall we?
It's still not amazing. We can work through it though. We can work through it.
So I've turned the volume of the mic down a little bit, trying to help. But
oh wait, that's better.
That is a bit better. Yeah, I don't know how, but it is.
Witchcraft.
Yeah. Let's give a couple of mentions to. We're going to come back to Rotherham United, but I want to mention some other stuff first before we come back and finish talking about it. First of all, we need to give a shout out to Rotherham United's women's team who have beaten Sheffield Wednesday today, Sunday afternoon, 4-2 in the FA Cup, and I think it's Vitality FA Cup or something like that. So that's very good news. in the women's game.
Yeah.
I don't know where you're going with that.
No, I have no idea where you're going with that.
No. As mentioned on Twitter, any win against Sheffield Wednesday is a good one. But we'll keep a close eye. I'm interested in the Rotherham women's team. I think it's all the clubs put a lot of emphasis behind their women's team. So we'll keep a close eye on them this season. See how they get on. Non-Rotherham United related. Non-Rotherham United related. This second one is. I want to talk about Sam Morsey and Accrington Stanley losing 2-1 to Ipswich Town. And I think it's worth mentioning because it just plays into the narrative of the bigger clubs and the bigger players. I don't know if Mick and Ben, I assume Dennis knows what I'm going to talk about. I'm not sure if Ben and Mick do.
No, I don't know.
Okay. So yesterday, Ipswich Town went ahead and ended up losing 2-1 to Accrington. Me and Danny have seen Accrington this season, and they were impressively physical. People call us physical. They were so physical. But they know they are. That's what they do. That's what they are. They know that's not a dig. I hope. But Sam Morsey took it one stage for us. So this is the Sam Morsey that Matt Crooks screamed at last season after Michael Smith's penalty. Sam Morsey said of Accrington Stanley that they are a horrible team. They play like a non-league team, and that's no disrespect to them. That's just the style that works for them.
What's wrong with a non-league team?
Well, for me, it's said in that's not a disrespect. It's called them horrible, and it's called a League One team, a non-league team. For me, that's incredibly disrespectful, Mick. And
it's just a lightweight.
It's
just an absolute lightweight. What an embarrassment that man is.
They lost 2-1, yeah.
That's why he's saying it.
You've got to have some sense about you.
No, it's Sam Morsey. He plays for Ipswich. He's not got much sense, has he? I got paid more last year than them Ipswich players.
Listen, mate. Listen, he's obviously gone there for footballing reasons. He's not gone there for anything else at all. Anything at all. It's nothing to do with anything else at all, other than just pure and simple footballing reasons. I mean, he's gone from a championship club. Admittedly, he's gone down a league, but it's not for any other reason other than football. You know, he's gone from being managed by one of probably the best managers that in the championship to being managed by somebody else in a different league that's lower than that. But it's nothing to do with anything other than football. Nothing at all to do with anything other than football. So I don't know what you're saying, Ben, to be fair. But as far as the comments he's made, well, that says more about him than it says about anything else, doesn't it?
I think that's funny. I think that's funny as hell. I think that's hilarious.
What an absolute lightweight. I'm having to use the word lightweight. There's a number of other words that spring into my mind that are not really appropriate under the circumstances. But, you know, I mean, yeah. He's one of these players that throws himself to the floor every time crowd shout, isn't he? You know what I mean? Because he thinks somebody's behind him. So, whatever, mate.
Yeah, we don't often like talking about other teams when we're not playing against them, Danny. But I saw this and I thought, do you know what? I can't let this slide. I can't let that comment about a team like that, because we know how to play against Ipswich now. All he's done is told everybody else, right? Ipswich don't like it, get up them.
Well, what are they going to do when they come to New York? He's not going to dare come out of the changing room, is he?
He'll be in the change room saying, "Is that big one up front still playing?" But yeah, I saw the comments and I found it funny because we all know how well run Accrington is. Their chairman's done an incredible job since he's took them over, and they've got an incredible stadium now for a fan base of their size. So they deserve every respect under the sun because they're a really well-run club. But I think Sam Morsey has taken on the same attitude as their manager. He's a. I can't really think of the polite word for it. But I saw an interview. Yeah, we'll go with
Wow.
But yeah, I saw the interview that he gave to Quest after Ipswich beat Donny 6-0, and you would have thought that someone would be really happy that they're 6-0 because they've proven the reporter wrong and this, that, and other, and he just had the face like a slapped arse. And he treated the journalist with quite a lot of disrespect. And as someone who's an inspiring journalist, it was quite. I took it quite personally that he's speaking to someone like that, because he was saying stuff like, "Oh, you were saying they were really poor this week, and now you were saying really good." That's football. Sometimes you play bad, sometimes you play good. And it's quite funny that he's gone from having a crack at that journalist to now they've lost 2-1 against Accrington, and then Sam Morse's come out and said this. It's like, is that whole club full of like bad eggs or something who can't take a loss or a bad performance very well? You know, sorry, you're not top of the league, lads. Sorry.
You know the funniest thing about this? You know the funniest thing about this? They'll have been doing that in this interview. The interview will be going, "Oh, this is gold."
Yeah, well, yeah.
Right, this is
I can't believe his luck.
Yeah.
I tell you what the issue for him is, Sarah.
Cat.
The issue is dead simple, right? They've come into this division this season, tried to buy it in the 19th. So that just shows you can spend as much money as you want. You can have who you want in your team. You can have whatever lightweight fairies that you want in your team.
Is he their captain as well?
You know what I mean? You can't buy it. You're
sure,
not going to be able to buy it. You're 19th, mate. You're 19th, and you're 19th for a reason.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, for the record, I think they will turn it around and I think we'll be there or thereabouts.
They ought to win money this spend.
Not with attitude like that, though. If you're going to
long may that continue,
like that, yeah, absolutely.
Long may that continue.
A month or so, so let's hope they continue that. I just thought we had to bring it up.
I'm glad you've made me night, actually. It's sort of kind of finished my weekend off. It's been a decent weekend. You know, we've won away. Everybody's happy. So that kind of makes it even sweeter, doesn't it?
No doubt we'll be clipped by IPTV for our comments on this. But
anyway. Hey, I've been clipped by better clubs than that, I'll tell you now. I said I've been clipped by better clubs than that.
Yeah, that's true.
Wow, okay. Okay.
That's a strong word, okay.
Well, yeah, better is a strong word, doesn't that make well. Luton are better, to be fair.
Yeah. Wednesday
are above them.
They make them better.
Yeah, numbers don't lie.
Just saying.
I forgot what I said earlier. Numbers don't lie.
That's only tell the truth when they're important ones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's talk about defensiveness. Back to Rotherham United. 60 defeats out of 11 games. Once again, yesterday, Mick, there was a moment where they had a shot which went past the far post in the first half. But again, we didn't really look like conceding. And I know Victor gets the clean sheet. I'll probably get a clean sheet bonus in his contract. But he's not had out to do, has he?
No, and the clean sheet means as much to the defenders as it does to the goalkeeper, doesn't it? You know, they're immense. They're immense. And to be fair, you know, we've got Wes Harding waiting in sidelines, can't get a game. We've got Joe Matip when he's fit. Yeah, Joe Matip when he's fit won't be able to get a game. You know, we've got strength in depth even there. So yeah, they've performed really, really well, and I'm just There's not a lot I can say about them, to be honest with you. They created a couple of chances yesterday. Well, I said they created a couple of chances. There were probably more mistakes from us rather than chances they created. But like we said the other day in the last podcast, you know, even if they do breach that defence, they've still got to get past Victor. So no, it's looking good. It's looking really, really good.
Yeah, we've now got the joint second best defence in the league. Us and Wednesday have conceded 9. Wigan have only conceded 7. And it's like we've said this loads of time, Danny, and it's a really obvious thing to say, but it's a fantastic base to build. It gives you strike. Not only does it give the rest of the team, it gives you strikers confidence, because if you know your team's going to concede a goal, there's then more pressure on the striker to finish the goal, finish the shot. But there's that confidence that we're not really going to concede many, so it gives the rest of the team that confidence, almost a bit more freedom, really.
Yeah, and I mean, we've had 6 clean sheets this season in the league, 7 if you count the pizza trophy. So somewhat clean, right? And I think the only real scare that we had was the one that Victor created for himself, and I think that was because he was bored. He was just bored, and then just wanted to do something.
Just wanted something to do.
Yeah, he forgot to spit on his gloves and just went, "Oh no, I've spilled it! Oh look, I saved it now."
They should have done so much better with that.
Yeah, they should have done that. That was their chance to at least score 1. Yeah. But you know, Victor saved it. He's done something in the game, so fair play to him. But yeah, having a defence like ours this season, where we are joint second best on paper with the stats, but we have the most clean sheets in the league. It's very encouraging at this stage in the season. After 11 games, over 50% of them have been clean sheets. And we've only had 1 real serious breach, but since then we haven't lost. You know, So yeah, it's very encouraging, and hopefully it's still like this after 22, 32 and 46 games.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. We need to give some praise to the substitutions, Ben, because we criticised when they're poor. And to bring Mikael Miller and Chirag Benny on with 22 minutes left when you 1-0 up against the team who were already tired, it's not a masterstroke because it'd be daft not to. But it would just work, and they caused so many problems, and we probably should have scored a few more. I suppose it's a little bit of criticism.
Well, maybe that was voice crack. Maybe that was the maybe that was the main game plan all along. You know what I mean? Like you said, sadly tire him out and then bring Miller and Ogbene on. It's not who you want to see when you're tired, is it?
No.
So maybe that was the game plan all along. You don't know, but from the fan perspective, there were brilliant substitutions because it just pushed the game further out of reach. Because their fullbacks they're not good defenders, Miller and Ogbene. But when you're tired, it's not who you really want to be trying to take on for pace, attacking or defending. So yeah, they're good substitutions.
Yeah.
I think it were cruel. I just think it were really cruel on Cheltenham, to be honest.
Why?
you know that nice human being that Paul Warne is. That good human
no
being.
No mercy this season.
No mercy at all. There is there.
Yeah, but why would you have mercy?
Oh, you wouldn't. I'm saying it slightly tongue in cheek, to be fair. But he's been criticised in the past for being too nice. Well, if you're playing against a team like that and you're already leading, and then you make 2 substitutions and bring them to on, that's hardly could not in anybody's book ever be described as being nice, could it?
Yeah, but what we're trying to do, give him a chance to get him back in game.
No, absolutely.
Like that's the point. Yeah,
that's exactly my point.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Any issue with Chio not starting Mick? We talked to this before the game. It seems to me, and I'll see if I assume you're going to agree with me. It seems like he's played 2 games already. We've got to manage his hamstring issue, and he's going away to international duty, where we lose control of him. We lose control of his training methods, his training times, and we can't manage him. So, for me, it was a matter of let's take him out and put him on with 20 minutes to go, and make sure he's ticking over still.
Can I say something on this before I go?
You could have said something about hamstrings, aren't you?
Yeah, when you've got a weak hamstring, right? And so the best thing to do is not let him run. So then he's further resting his hamstring and further not working his hamstring. So that when he comes to full speed in the game, he's got a not worked hamstring and a weak hamstring. So if the injury, for me, the risk of injury just increases by not letting him play.
Yeah, it's still going to stretch it. In training times, it's still going to stretch it off and work on it. He's not coming into the game cold.
Stretching doesn't improve anything but short-term flexibility, which means naff all, in my opinion. I'm not a sports whatever.
I think it's more the case of if he's got a weak hamstring, it's better to focus on the strength of it in the gym rather than doing sprints. So he increases the strength of it and then getting back running full pelt again. Because I mean, he's played 2 games on Saturday and Tuesday, so I think he was going to get rested a bit anyway. And he might have just done a bit more gym work on his hamstring before the game and going into internationals.
My question is though, that's him and Lindsay have both done the hamstring. So is the hamstring strength and exercise within the team program, or what's crack with that? Because that's 2 people both out.
With Lindsay's, it was a very awkward landing that tore it, so that's got nothing to do with a past hamstring. It's just a bit unfortunate for him. But Lindsay was in the gym in the hotel before the game, still doing work on it. So fair play to him on that one.
Yeah, but massage? Is it like massaging?
It would pull therapy and things like that. I think it said.
Oh, I don't know. So what we're going to
pay the big money there.
In a game, you're going to take thousands of pounds of force. So what we're going to do is put you in a pool where you take no force whatsoever.
Yeah, but he's injured. So you can't work at full 100% when you're injured.
And if he's torn his hamstring, it needs to heal. So that'll be the pull therapy. And then when that's healed, then you're back in gym strengthening it.
Whatever.
One day. Here's what I'm going to say before you go, Ben. If there's a sports scientist that watches this or listens to this, get in touch. We would love to get you on and talk to you about injuries about how injuries
Because
work, how people get injured,
that
about
would be
rehab and things like that.
That would be
Not
brilliant.
necessarily to prove Ben wrong. I'm not going to dig up Ben, but we talk about it and we're not qualified. So it'd be good to have somebody on, if anybody's out there, fully qualified, if somebody, somebody who's a professional sports scientist, get in touch with us. And we would love
sports
to have
scientist who's not just sports scientist,
a professional one,
professional one.
fully qualified,
Not someone
fully
who's
professional.
trained 4 people and 3 of them have whatever.
You say it's not
sports
to prove Ben
scientists.
wrong, but that'd be an added bonus, wouldn't it?
It would be
Yeah.
added bonus.
It wouldn't, but yeah.
If anybody get in touch, I will find out if you meet Ben's criteria, and then we'll get you on.
I need to go. That would be brilliant.
Okay.
That would be amazing.
We'll see what we can do. Ben, it's been a pleasure. We're not done. We'll see you soon.
See ya.
See you, Ben.
Anyway, back to Mick. I asked you a question about Chio resting him. Do you think that's what I assume? Do you think there was no reason to drop him? Was there? It must have been a resting session.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he just rested him. Like you said, he's got his international duty coming up as well. Maybe they've got some inside information as to whether he's going to be playing or what. We don't know. And it's an ideal opportunity. Well, I think they were pretty confident as a management team that Cheltenham weren't going to really cause us that many problems, particularly out wide, bearing in mind how they set up. So it was an ideal opportunity to give Sadler a bit of a run, and rest Chio. It was nice to see Mikel Miller coming on. I'm quite pleased with that because he obviously got. I don't want to say frozen out because that's probably not the right term, but he sort of ended up going out on loan last season as opposed to being brought back into the team, which whether that was the right decision or not is irrelevant now. But it certainly seems to me that he makes an impact every time he comes on pitch. So it's nice to see that he is involved and he is in Warney's thoughts. So, but for me, it was just Benny's just a resting jobby, nothing else for me.
Speaking of getting someone who is a sports scientist, if anybody knows Mark Hoy, who is the club's physiotherapist, give him a bell and ask and see if he wants to come on here, because I'm just as interested as this person about how you actually treat footballers' injuries. Because I've had a little dabble at it when I injured my hamstrings, but not at their level. It's like they've said with Jamie Lindsay's injury, it's 6 to 8 weeks now. Jamie Lindsay wants it to be 6 weeks. So how do you go about that? So if anyone knows Mark Hoy, please pass on our interest to him and see if he can come on, because that'd be a very interesting listen to.
Yeah, no, absolutely, definitely. Just before we move on, we're going to talk about the Scunny game on Tuesday briefly because it's the Pete's Trophy. We're not going to spend too much time on it, but it's interesting from my point of view who might play. But let's just finish on the league stuff, Danny. 20 points from 11 games. You really, really can't grumble at that. That's a really good start.
Yeah, 100%. And it's our best League One start under Paul Warne. In fact, it's our best league start, full stop, under Paul Warne. The only one that came close was 2017-18 when we got 18 from 11. Whereas now we're sat nice and happy on 20 from 11. And funnily enough, the last time we got 20 points from 11 games was in the 2010-11 season in League Two. So it's a very, very positive start. But it also makes you reflect in the great thing of hindsight of if maybe we'd have drawn with Wigan or not conceded against Crewe and Lincoln, we'd be top at league. Yeah. So it's very encouraging, this early start, but it's just that. It's an early start. Anything could happen yet. We could have a sudden surge from Ipswich. We could have Portsmouth go on an amazing run. Sunderland could take the league by storm. There's a lot that could happen, but from the first 11 games, it's very encouraging from our perspective, and long may it continue.
Yeah, absolutely. And we still sit top of the XG table. That title's coming home. And more importantly, Mick, the curse has been lifted with the grey kit.
Yeah, that's it. I think all curses are now officially lifted for this season, so the sky's the limit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Result.
Play all those games in grey kits now from now on.
Yeah.
Let's not. It's horrible. It's still horrible.
No.
Any other points before we move on? Before we talk about the pizza game briefly. I think we've covered most of
none for me.
No, none for me either.
Cool. That's the end of the league campaign for now.
I've just thought of one. Sorry, just thought of one. The liner who was in front of the away fans. He were a top geezer, him, because we had a like an inflatable beach ball in the stands, and we were throwing it around, and it went onto the pitch. And the ref stopped the game, and the lino trotted over and threw it back into the stands. And so we were all chanting the lino's a Miller. And then in the second half, he gave an offside against us. And then the lino is a, so he had some great crack, and the referee had some great crack with the away fans as well. So, yeah, fair play. That's all I've got to say about that.
Yeah, but I don't think putting the ball back to the crowd probably didn't go down very well at referee. But who cares? Who cares about that? So Papa John's Pizza Trophy returns. We are back in action Tuesday night against Scunthorpe. It's a 7 o'clock kickoff. Anybody that is going, bear in mind it's a 7 o'clock kickoff, not a 7:45 kickoff. A win for us will all but put us through to the last 32. I don't know what the next round is.
I think it's last 16 of the Northern Group.
Yeah. So the last exactly. Yeah, it's the last 16, last 32 overall. We would go to 6 points, 3 points ahead of Donny. If we win, we would have at least a +7 goal difference, whereas Donny's is currently -5, thanks to good old Rotherham United. It would essentially put Scunthorpe out. Scunthorpe are in massive problems, Mick. They're bottom of the Football League. From what I've heard, they've got some financial problems as well. It's a sorry state of affairs for Scunny. This Pizza Trophy brings up these games where I'm a fan of Scunny. I think my first ever away day as a child was away at Scunthorpe in an FA Cup game where we got absolutely thrashed. So, you look at the playoff winning season where we went there in the league and Samir Jai scored, and the playoff game with Joe Newell goal. They're one of them clubs that I want to see in the Football League. Give me them over Forest Green any day of the week. And it's a real shame what's happened to them since they lost to us in playoffs.
Yeah, it is. But it's just that's just how football is at the moment, isn't it? Everybody taking a gamble, lots and lots of owners taking gambles, and it's tough. It's tough, and I don't like to see it. Nobody wants to see a club like that struggle like they are doing. They've got a decent history at this level, at our level. So yeah, it's sad, but it is what it is, isn't it? We've got to concentrate on ourselves. So this trophy, this game on Tuesday it's just a chance for us to give. It's like us playing under 23s. We're one of the big boys now, aren't we? We're playing our under 23 squad, like Premier League Wallers are doing. So I'm kind of quite looking forward to it, to be honest, to see some of the. I don't want to say fringe players because they're not fringe players, are they? The likes of Hakeem Aduffin and Sadler and Bowler, all these players are not. They are all justifiably knocking on the door of the first team. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing some of them play. But that's all it is for us, isn't it? Really, realistically. Yeah,
it is. We have met them 4 times in this competition. We beat them twice in the 90s, 92 in the Auto Glass, 94 in the Auto Windscreen Shield. Those were both 3-1 wins. But we played them in 2009 in the area final and lost 3-0 on aggregate to Scunthorpe. So 50-50 win and loss. What Stephen Adams asked Danny, what's your lineup going to be for this one? There are parts of it where we know what we know are going to be. Vickers is going to come back in. Mm-hmm. You assume Jake Hull's going to come back in because Woody's not going to start. That's almost a dead cert. Adolphin's going to come in. Freddie's going to come in. That's it. You've got a spine there. Where do you build around that? Who do you want? Maybe Wes Harden, no international for him, and he's not played for a few games.
Yeah, you could bring Harden in. Maybe try him on the right of that centre back lineup. Bring Matic in if he's fit enough on the left hand side. If not, then I'd say Harden on the left and Inekwe on the right hand side. Because I think Edmonds Green deserves a little bit of a rest as well. Yeah. So you could say same for Rathbone, couldn't you? But
just a bit, yeah.
Yeah,
Miles E's run over the last few games. I think he definitely deserves a rest.
Yeah, so you could say your midfield could be Dauphin, Barlaser, and Wiles. or even bring Sadlier in to the middle of the park and let Wiles have a rest as well. So they could bring Sadlier, Barlaser, and a Dauphin. That left-hand side, I'd say put Mikel Miller there. Give Ferguson a little bit of a rest, make sure. Well, Ferguson can't start. Yeah. So I'd bring Miller in, and then on your right-hand side, potentially play Chio there because he only did a little bit of time.
No, he's off, isn't he?
Yeah, he's off as
off
well. We should play right-hand side then. That's a good point.
We could play Grattan on the left side of play, so you could possibly put Miller on right-hand side. You know, like we played Miller on right-hand side against Donny. You got Bowler. Bowler could play on left-hand side as well. It's been out for years as well.
Yeah, that's very true. And then up front, I'd go for Ladipo and Grigg, I'd say.
Same as Donny.
See how let them to operate a bit better together as well. But like Mick says, it's weird because it's something that you want to see more of the fringe players, but calling them fringe players isn't the right thing because they could probably start every week if someone dropped out or if someone had a stinker, then they just come in very naturally. And it'd be interesting to hear Warren's thoughts on this year's Papa John's Trophy because there's no reason at all with our depth in our squad why we couldn't go a lot further than recent years. Because I think over the last two, we've only gone into the group stage and never progressed recently anyway. But it's all building up nicely to something like the 96 one where we didn't get very far for a few years and then suddenly bang, we're in the final. Might happen this year, we don't know. But I think it should be one of them games where we are ever so slightly tipped to win. And I hope it's not one of them games where we tip to win and then we lose 1-0. That'd be really unfortunate.
Yeah, it would, definitely. It's fallen a bit lucky, Mick, because the game against the Cheltenham's been called off. And it was similar to the Donny game, whereas if we were playing on Saturday, there would be more chance. I think we'd see a lot more youth players playing the game. But because we ain't going to worry about Saturday, it then does allow you to... There's sense in playing Barlaser, for example. Because Barlaser doesn't play, he has 2 full weeks without football. It makes sense to keep him ticking over. Yeah,
it does. It does. And it'll only be played at 80%. We don't want to get injured, do we? It means nothing, this trophy, let's be fair. As a competition, no, come on, unless you get to the final. As a competition, it's a reserve tournament. That's all it is. It gives players that are not getting... Stages. It gives players who are not getting starts that opportunity to get some game time. You know, players coming back from injury to get some game time, some competitive game time. So I mean, well, we'll see. I don't care about it. I don't, honestly. I'm sorry. I know I should do, but I can't drum up any sort of enthusiasm for it at all.
We said this for the Donny game. Everyone's 6-0.
I think it is the Premier League teams that upsets it. They just take away the interest. It's like, playing against Premier League youth teams, what's the point? When it comes back to that old argument of would people have more interest in it being the League One and League Two trophy if there were no Premier League teams? Even if there were a few National League teams in it, would it drum up more interest in the Premier League teams? Probably, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But, all Premier League teams, all exposure. But interest certainly picks up when all Premier League teams have gone. It's like nobody cared about the 2018 competition and Chelsea under-21s got to the semi-final.
I know.
And then as soon as they were out, right, we can crack on now. And then the final got a lot of interest. Hopefully it's the same this season. All Premier League teams go out early. And so a lot of people just start coming into it going, we're playing such and such. I haven't played them for a bit.
Yeah. Well, if we win last week against Scunny, we're effectively through because of goal difference, which means our last game, which is at home to Manchester City under 23s or whatever they are, will be effectively meaningless, which is ideal because we can just not throw it, but play a really weakened team. If we don't need to win it, why would you not? Because that won't be during international break, as best I can tell. Stephen Adams mentions, what about Angus in news? I haven't had any update from him. He's still, the last news we had a few weeks with Lincoln, where he was at the game, not playing, obviously. So you never know. There might be a surprise to be sprung. McDonald might be able to make the squad. That'd be fantastic. We'd see Angus McDonald make the squad and get some minutes under his belt. That would be perfect.
I think there's been an Instagram post of him training, hasn't there? On his Instagram account, I believe. Might be wrong, I don't know.
Like Matt immediately pick up her phones like, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what that is, but
I've noticed.
Just read it, that's all. There's obviously the speculation going around on social media as to what the issue is, but there's no need to speculate, is that we don't know. And all we can hope is that he's back in a Rotherham United shirt as soon as possible, really. But hopefully he is back training. So,
I've seen a picture of him training on 23rd. He was also at the Joshua fight last week. If anyone's interested, according to his Instagram.
all right, fair enough.
That's the update. If it's going to, I don't know. Anyway, we've gone on massively long here. Apologies to everybody. My wife who was waiting for me to finish as well. Apologies to her as well. We will be back. We will probably do an episode on Thursday just to have a quick look back at the Scunny game. There's no Saturday game to preview this week, but we will pull them back anyway because we can have a mini season review, 11-game season review. Keep an eye on the socials because from when the football returns, we're going back to trying to do a match day. So we're going to do a post-match match day like we did last season, wherever possible. Sometimes it might not be possible because away games and whatnot. But keep an eye on that because we enjoyed them, mate. And everybody else seemed to enjoy him. And we've got Danny. We've got a few more people that can help us, not just us two, which we always.
Yeah,
it's naturally just me and you, Mick. It's great.
Yeah.
There's
there were a few where we wanted to open a vein, weren't they, last season? So,
yeah. Cardiff was something else.
Yeah, Cardiff being a prime example. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So keep an eye on all that. We'll try and get some more videos out on YouTube and the more stuff out on the podcast if you like. And if you're watching already and you haven't subscribed already, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel and on iTunes if you prefer an audio version. And like I said, we'll be back live Thursday night on YouTube, out of the audio Friday morning for anybody that wants to listen to that. And we'll be back see what else we've got for the week after if we can get anything through. Thank you much, Danny, for joining us. It's always a pleasure, mate.
Yeah, always fun to chat about football for an hour.
And Ben, I'm sure Ben is listening. It's been a pleasure having you with us, Ben, even though you're not with us anymore. I hope you're probably in your 15th pudding by now. And Mick, thank you for coming.
Yeah, whatever.
Thank you, boys and girls, and we'll see you soon. Thank you very much. Freddy's on one-on-one. Can Freddy turn his shoot? Can Freddy shot? Yes!